Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, a very, very happy Dave Scott. Where's Jeremy Jones in the chat room? Where are you? You got some shit to take tonight after busting my ass after game one. 4 in a row, Jeremy. 4 in a row to move on to the Stanley Cup final. Woo! McJesus is alive, people. McJesus is alive. Learn that name. And we got Bryan Bowden here, the man with 10,187 podcasts on the show for, what the hell do we call this? Our Cryptid World. Dirty Filth is here with another crazy cartoon, and we have all of you as well. Eternity Eternal in the gold medal position. Kitty Caddywhack with a silver. Tim Mothman and his goatee with a bronze medal tonight. We got Race Fan sitting in fourth for the fourth night in a row. Lisa Piper, how you doing? And T-Bone, my man. What's happening, my friend? Robert Lamothe and David Norenberg, good to see you both as we continue on with our roll call tonight. Scrolling on down, Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, nice to see you. Mel WD40 is here, lubing us up for tonight's show because Brian can only start a podcast if he's lubed up. So Mel is currently lubing him up as we speak. All right, moving on down, we say hello to Bar Madison. Amanda, nice to see you tonight as we continue on with our roll call here. Greg, how you doing? Greg from Scotland is here. Good to have you back, Greg. Thank you for coming on in. Fast Hemi, what's happening, my man? And who's next on our list here? Well, we have... Geez, it's a long conversation here. The same people. Number 27 in your program, starting on defense from Stockholm, Sweden. Lars Jansson. There he is. Matthew Gutka is here. Matthew Gutka will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Walter Kochabinski, good to see you here as we continue on with our roll call tonight. Kurt M. and Bellenia, my man. Nice to see you both here. And who's next? Operation Shutdown. Lakeside Laura is here. Lakeside Laura will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio for Laura, to the right of the studio. Be careful with her. Be gentle. It's her first time signing autographs. So we don't want to hurt her wrist right off the bat from all that signing. Carol Amerio, how are you? Zen1, nice to see you, my friend. Hope Nebraska is well for you. Area 53, how you doing? Flat 6, nice to see you. As we continue on with our roll call. Eversore, welcome back to SOR Chat. Hi, Dragonfly and Road Flare, good to see you both. Algaray over on Twitch, 4,000 canine crunches to prepare for Dogman tonight. Rockin' Rory, good to see you. Zen2, nice to see you, my dear. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Area 53, thank you for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. Very much appreciate your love and support of SOR, my friend, and I hope you're doing well and awesome as well, man. All right, moving on down. Ozzy Ange, how you doing? I'm hardcore. That's right, McJesus is alive and well and in Edmonton. That's right. We love him. Fapster, what's happening, my friend? Panthers in 4. You are sick. You are a sick individual. Jeff Adams, welcome to SOR Chat. T-Bone, my man, thank you for that awesome super chat. Greatly appreciate your nightly love and support of SOR, my friend. And who's next on our list? Scrolling on down, we have Digger Dog. And let's see here. Oh, geez, get that back on. Get that back on. Don't you think about that. All right, let's get the radio side going here. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We got Bryan Bowden on the show. We're going to talk about all cryptid cartoons, all cryptid animals, everything cryptid tonight. Why? Because it's our cryptid world. Dirty Filth is here with another crazy cartoon. If you're watching on the YouTube side, we are in roll call right now, and I hope you're doing well tonight, everybody. 1 second. As we say hello next to Mark Eddy. Nice to have you here. Signs of Life, thanks for coming on in. Moody Mongol, how are you? And let's see here, in the studio. Little Cam on YouTube, 500 push-ups in 6.5 minutes. His arms are jacked for this show. Nita Williams, how are you? Throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods, where together, my friends, we own the night. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the Newswire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We're going to have a fun show tonight as we get into all things monsters and cryptids. Bryan Bowden is here filling in for Varla Ventura on Our Cryptid World. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off with another spooky story. Tim James will be here with a cryptid, make that the UFO report. It's Dave 101 night. And we'll play the weird news of the week. Each and every month, we have Bryan Bowden coming on in, filling in for Varla Ventura, who is going through some medical issues that she will hopefully be back on the show in a couple of months. And, you know, I have to say that rudely like that because in the background, Bryan put a picture up of the Florida Panthers. And I am an Edmonton Oilers fan, and we are about to clash in the Stanley Cup final for the second year in a row. But Bryan here, not only is he a good hockey guy, he's a hell of a podcaster. He's very much an experiencer. He is a great researcher who's been on television shows, written books. He's been there, done that, and did everything with it. Bryan Bowden, it's good to have you back on Spaced Out Radio. I don't understand the Florida Panther thing. Looks like an illness to me. But how you doing, my friend? You got yourself muted there, Bryan. 1 second. See, that's what happens when you mess around and start thinking you're a Florida Panthers fan.
No, it's a farm team. In my book, they're a farm team for the New York Rangers, them and the Bolts. So I can't, root for my team. So I have to root for the best. I really do think they're going to repeat. I wish you the best, but I really do think they're going to repeat.
No. Not this year. McJesus is on a roll. McJesus wants it. and McJesus is going to hoist Lord Stanley's Holy Grail and bring the Stanley Cup home to Canada for the first time in 32 years. Did you know, hockey stat for you,
Sure.
and it's a hockey conspiracy, because I know you like conspiracy theories, Brian.
I do. Yeah.
Did you know that in NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman's tenure as Commissioner of the NHL, which spans 32 years, a Canadian team has never won a Stanley Cup under his tenure?
Conspiracy theory? I don't know. I mean, really?
Yes. And many
You
many
really
hockey
think that
many
the
hockey
fix is in?
purists actually believe, because Bettman has always hated Canadian markets, okay, outside of Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. Okay, he has many Canadian hockey fans believe that he has had the fix in on this. Now, I'll be honest with you, I can't stand Gary Bettman.
Right.
Okay, I think he's very pompous. I've never forgiven him for the 2005 lockout year.
Oh my God,
But-
that killed me that year. But yeah, go ahead.
I know, but
Yeah.
I don't believe in the conspiracy. I don't.
I don't believe in
think
a
it's-
conspiracy. I mean, and how can you not like the Canadian market? Hockey was not a really big sport in the U.S. I mean, I remember watching it on black and white TV. It was mostly from my experience growing up. It wasn't even talked about. It was always basketball, football, that kind of junk. But it's the greatest sport in the planet. I'm sorry.
It
The
is.
speed, the finesse, and the players are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the way that they're playing is just insane. Some of these shots, the flip-ins, it's crazy. The first time I actually remember seeing stuff like that was I was watching, I forgot his name, on the Rangers, the pretty boy, whatever it was, and he just skated. Ron Duguay actually met his wife in Greenwich and wasn't a big fan of her as a supermodel, but when you meet her in person, your jaw drops. Yeah, this was one of the Russian players, and I forgot his name, but he was so finesse. It's like I don't watch figure skating. Sorry, folks. It's just if you put checking in figure skating, I think it would be a great Olympic event, which would be fantastic. But yeah, and now all these players are just so much more speed, huge. It makes it a great game. I don't understand how you don't like the Canadian market. I think you should do more European things. Maybe bring some more of the European stuff in.
No, we've got enough Europeans in the league. That's where all the soccer diving has come from.
What they're doing now is they play a couple of football games over in Europe, and they'll play American football, not like soccer, and then they'll do basketball or whatever. There's other ways to get a fan base. It's not just the new stuff. I thought there was high hopes for the Kraken, but
they'll be there. They'll be there. Let's move on to some monsters here, because I will talk hockey all night long if I don't shut up now. And I'm just so pumped up.
No, I mean, you should be pumped. Your team's in there, and it's going to be a fun series either way. But something that was interesting while we were waiting to get on, one of the individuals that is in chat right now made a comment. A race fan was talking about, Dogman. There's, what about Dog Woman? And there is a Dog Woman. This is something that's new, and I'm going to present the actual a tab, because I can't totally go into the video, but I'm driving you guys to it at the North American Dogman Project, and there's a reason for it. So if you do bring it up, there's a recent case. Jody will be probably talking about it when he comes on, and I'll let him do the privilege of showing certain things to the audience, because I don't have that permission to do it. But there is FLIR footage in the land between the lakes, and from what I've seen, and you can see the images and the FLIR. If I just shared the Dogman page to you, North American Dogman Project. If you scroll down on it, you will start seeing what is a dog woman. And not only that, my personal take on it, she's holding a child. So there's a
Weird.
baby dog man.
Very
Yeah.
weird.
And it's really good footage. It's 2025 footage too.
Before
So,
we continue,
yes, sir.
for our listeners who may be listening for the first time and they don't know what a dogman is, I mean, it's as hokey as it sounds. I want people to imagine the image of a werewolf, but a lot meaner, a lot taller, a lot uglier, and a lot more bark to its bite. No, I'm not
Trying to-
talking about you, Brian.
Yes,
You're
I'm,
close.
I'm just trying to get out of the image. I have the ability to
You're
put
close.
images behind me. Yeah, is it filth? There are different. There are individuals that say that there are 7 variants, and it goes anywhere from above me, just above my head, right over there, to like a baboon or a Bigfoot-ish kind of creature, to almost a hyena, more of actually monkey, hyena, baboon, and then it gets into a canine, so it looks like a dog. But these are all beings that are standing upright for the most part. They do go on all fours. There's a jaguar one, and then my favorite is the Van Helsing. Um, that's the one. If you've ever seen Van Helsing with the werewolf movies, and these massive beasts standing upright and tall, big snout, fangs. That's what a dogman is. It's people say werewolf, but werewolf is a Hollywood creation. These aren't transforming from man or woman into these creatures. These are a species themselves, like Bigfoot, not Sasquatch, Bigfoot.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
For our audience who may not be familiar with you, how long have you
Yes.
been hunting monsters now?
A bunch of decades. Not necessarily hunting them. I have questions just like everybody else in chat does, and I want answers to those questions. So, I mean, I didn't want to like I've said this 1,000 times. I didn't want to believe in this. I thought this was like, okay, we're making this up. Now we're going crazy. I've definitely believed in Bigfoot. I believed in the Yeti, Abominable Snowman, Loch Ness, and but I was like, we jumped the shark, and then I had my encounter with it, um, and like 15 feet from me, and it's big. I don't know. I don't know if I recall telling you what actually happened last summer, but I went back up to the New York area, and I had a couple of buddies that wanted to see Bigfoot. Like take us to Bigfoot land. So there's a space up in New York that I would go to, and it divides. So when you go up a path in these woods, it's I'm going to say a park more than a national forest or something, and you Y at a certain point, and if you go to the right, you get to an area that we've had many Bigfoot encounters. You'll get rocks thrown at you. You'll have the tree knocks. You get the whoops every once in a while, and then you'll get a glimpse of what is a Bigfoot. It's a really, not like a full, hey, take a picture, Harry and the Hendersons, but you'll see these things and, kind of cutting behind the trees and in the shadows. So I hadn't been there for a while because I moved to Florida for the most part. So I told my buddies, I'm like, you guys go up, just stay to the right on the path. And they're walking up, and I'm like kind of in the back, making sure we got the gear, if there's a camera, something for casting. And I hear help, like screaming. And I'm like, so I run up. And when I run up, there's my buddy. He's frozen. He's like, what the hell is that? And when I look, I see in the distance, probably about 25 yards, 30, what seems to be a juvenile, which, mind you, is still about 6 feet plus tall. dogman, um, big snout, fangs coming down, snarled up on the side, just staring at us, kind of looking like you need to leave now. So I'm like, why'd you go this way? And he said, you said follow the path. So I said, okay, let's go. He wanted out. He turned around. I said, don't turn around. Walk backwards. We walked back out. And I realized that the path, one had brush cover it. So the path was gone over the year that I was away. So he was actually just walking up, waiting for that Y or the right turn. It wasn't there. He missed it. I found it. And him and the other buddy were just whiter than white. They were not happy. They were upset. I said, are you okay? And they said, they were kind of shaky. So like, what was that? And I said, that's a dog, man. I was explaining to them that it's basically what a Bigfoot is, but on a canine type of footing. And I said, do you want to go back see the Bigfoot? And he's like, I want to go home. And from that point forward, both of them have not talked to me.
Why? You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because just the other night we had Tim Senor on the show. And Tim hasn't been the same since he came up here and visited Flight 21. And it was the first time publicly, even to me, he admitted that when I saw the UFO on the ground, he saw numerous sets of legs walking through the trees.
Yeah.
And, the night before, he watched a UFO come in summoned, right? And so it was to the point where it almost caused like an ontological shock to him that has created a PTSD sort of attitude. Like he's afraid he won't come back up here. He's afraid to have those type of encounters again. And like with your friends there who had what they saw, they don't want to go back.
No,
they don't want to do that. What is the fear that this causes people?
It's all fun and games until Bigfoot comes out, or the Dogman comes out, or the UFO lands. Even as a researcher and investigator, 9 out of 10 times you get nothing, and the 10th time is just like a holy cow moment. I've had some moments like where I'm like under my breath, like, oh my, bleep me out, because you believe in it. And you want to believe it, you want to see it, but when it happens, it's so far out of the consciousness of most people that it unnerves them. It is a post-traumatic stress situation, and I don't, it questions everything in your life. God gets questioned, all the religious people get questioned, everybody, government, whatever, like. Why aren't they doing anything about this? It's weird. It's really. I guess it's the closest thing in a really weird way to a religious experience, than anything else. And I don't know. I mean, it's tough. It's tough for people. It's kind of like being on an airplane and. People fly all the time, but when you have a drop 10,000 feet, I've been on one of those flights. It changes you, like, and then the airlines go, "Oh, we'll give you free tickets to get on the next plane." I'm like, I'm not getting on that thing again. It questions life. Like, what else is out there? It's scary. These things aren't. It's not like seeing a puppy dog. Have you ever seen a moose, like up close?
Yes.
First of all, they kill a lot of, unalive, a lot of people. They're very aggressive. But when you see this massive, it's a lot of flesh coming at you, the grandiose of it, I guess, takes over. That's what I would think. I mean, I don't know, other people's opinion of it, but that's what I think it really hits. I was blown away when I first saw my first one. I was like, I was like, oh no, these are real. You know, like it's enough to have a Bigfoot. It's enough to have a Mothman creature that's flying and trying to attack your car, or the flying humanoids up in Chicago. It's weird. It's just really really weird. But when you keep seeing these things, um, not that I'm used to it. It's just okay. All right, now we have to go with a different type of mode. But nobody in my I mean, no one. Most people would not know how to deal with that situation if it approached itself. I mean, it's a. Last week I was driving. I almost died. Some guy decided I'm making a left turn here into like 6 cars worth of traffic, and I was the lead car. And I mean, like it was. We're talking fractions of an inch. And for a split second, when I got to my destination, I was like, I had to take that in because it was that close. This is the same thing, but this is stories, and this is nightmares. This is your nightmare coming to life in front of you. How would you like that?
I fully agree with you. I mean,
Yeah.
When we were at Flight 21 a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago, literally 3 minutes after we put our pointy sticks away and unloaded them, about 100 feet into a trail, about 100 feet away from us, there's a cougar there.
Yeah.
Right? And you just can never be prepared for what your outcome is going to be. A wild animal, I mean, you make noise, you let them know that where you are so they can go the other way, and 9.9 times out of 10, they're going to go that other direction unless they're a moose and stupid.
Right. So, I like the pointy sticks reference. You also have to understand that human beings think that they're better than everybody. We're the best. We're so smart, and we're sly and whatever. When you had that cougar, when I'm thinking cougar, I live in Florida, so that could either be a 4-legged animal or a 2-legged animal. But that's a totally different show, Dave. But what they work the forest. That's their domain. And I'm sure that when you finally realize where it was, that thing was tracking you for a while. It smelt you and it was like, Canadian bacon. I'm going to go get some. It's the truth. So this is why, like, when you hear, like, when I go on investigations in states that I'm allowed to, the pointy sticks are there. But what I do is I send out consciously, I do something called an active intelligent encounter, where you use your consciousness, very much like the CE5 protocols. And you say, this is not for you. It is a defensive thing because there are other predators out here that like to make a meal out of us. And if we have to use it, we gift that to you. They understand that. They know when you're coming up with a Bigfoot, they know who's going to do something stupid and who isn't. And the stupid ones are the ones that are getting really pelted, like, get out of here. But when you come up against, it's a werewolf. It looks like a werewolf. It's like every horror film, American Werewolf in London, but standing up 7-8 feet tall. The one that I was no more than 12, 15 feet from me, when it stood up, if it stood up, it would have been close to 12 feet tall. Sitting down, it was almost 9 feet tall.
My goodness.
It was massive. Bigger than, it was. And then that sinks in and like, oh my God, what am I doing? like I got to pick a better hobby, But I have questions. You have questions. Everybody in your chat has questions. And we want to answer.
And that's something we should actually talk about in the next half hour. Why do we do this? Why do we do this on an off chance that some monster that isn't supposed to exist could literally rip our arm off and beat us with it or get taken by aliens for life? Why do we do this chase? Why do we think that this is necessary? We're going to get more into that. Bryan Bowden is our guest tonight on Our Cryptid World. Why do we do stupid things like chase Bigfoot in the forest? or Dogman. Should we bring a tennis ball next time? I don't know. We'll find out from the Bryan Bowden, the man with 8,332 podcasts, coming up next. All right, we're clear.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? I actually have some stuff. A couple of images of a recent event in, if you let me play it, Knob Creek. So I got it. I was talking with Jody. He gave me permission for it. So
How long is it?
it's like 41 seconds worth of stuff. Just,
Here,
so they can see some images.
Put it up there. We'll put it on right now.
Okay. Let me present it. Share screen. You're gonna like this. There's a couple images, and then he had a video. Tell me when it's up. I don't know. Can you see it?
No, not yet. There it is.
Okay, there it is. And this was Jody. He went out and he heard some sounds coming from Knob Creek National Forest in Kentucky. And so I'm just going to play it. And he saw something moving in there, so he took a shot. It's coming up right now. And it was a little bit weird and blurry, so he tried to get a better shot at it. And that got really blurry. But then in the next one, it totally deformed. It looked how deformed it was. But in this video that's coming up, that's where he really gets you.
Dave, do you remember me, Dave? I'm here at the Guava Tree, Dave. Dave, many times do you remember you, Daves? I'm always
I love that guy. I
had
totally
to.
love that guy.
I had to. No, those are really Jody's images, but I had to throw this bastard in there too. So yeah,
Oh,
I got you.
I love that guy.
I win. I know it's coming when you come on my show, but I know it.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I freaking love it.
Dave.
I love it.
Yeah, I just had to.
You're lucky I can't edit audio or video, man. Oh, that guy cracks me up. The best one out there is when he tries to say Robert, and so I'll send Sweet Robbie G ones, and it'll be, hi, Rupert, I love you, Rupert. Come see me,
man.
Rupert. I miss you, Rupert.
I was having like
Oh
some
my God,
really
that was good.
Yeah, really bad days. It was just bad. I was like so pissed off. I got a message from you, and that was there. I'm like, what's this video? And there it was, and I was like, this is awesome.
That
This
guy
just
is the
made my
best.
day. Yo,
That guy is the absolute best.
it is fun. It is totally fun.
Oh,
Nice.
man.
Dirty Filth is coming on my show.
Is he?
Yeah,
Oh, he's a star now. He has his own show now.
I know. I think it's great.
I do, too.
Has it ever been on time yet? No.
Ever been on time? I don't know.
No, I the first show I forgot to push the confirm to go live button, so I was sitting here talking to myself for like 10 minutes.
He's actually on next week,
Nice.
Yes.
and we're going to talk about art, and because I'm not just paranormal, and I got his book. It's great. I love it.
His book is phenomenal.
Yeah. So
He's
Let's
so
make
Did
good.
you find the secret drawing yet?
in the book,
Yeah.
not yet. I was going through it, and I have a honey-do list because I got 3 honeys, and it's just like you never can. You just sit down to breathe, and they just like, can I just, for the love of God, like, you have to have a heart attack to actually have some privacy. I'm not going through that crap again, but I'll find it. But I think, I'm all about, I promote whoever it is. I want people to be happy, and everybody should be able to show off their wares and and what they're doing, except for Mark Eddy, who's probably naked right now.
Mark Eddy has a bag of Cheetos on his chest, and he is wiping his fingers off on his chest hair.
It's right there, all the hair and stuff. Yeah,
his chest hair is orange right now.
Yo, I have
Morning,
a bone
Commonwealth Andrew. Hey, we want to say a big thank you so far to Zen2, T-Bone our man, and Area 53 for the amazing super chats. Really appreciate the love and support. It's a great way to support us. And remember, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you go check it on out. And, Mark Eddy saying the bag of Cheetos is strategically placed. Love it, Mark. Love it.
It's all about placement. Oh, it's all about placement.
Here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Why do people go searching for monsters? My name is Dave Scott. Our guest is Bryan Bowden. We'll get to him momentarily. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you miss portions of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Bryan Bowden, podcast extraordinaire experiencer. He comes in once a month filling in for the ailing Varla Ventura, and hopefully in a couple months we'll have Varla back with us.
Yes.
And Bryan, thank you again for filling in for Varla and being here for our audience.
It's my pleasure, and I just want to wish prayers, healing, recovery, blessings to her, and have her come back, stronger and better than ever.
Well, I know I'm not going to get certain videos played during the breaks with Varla, which is nice, but that's okay. Why do people chase down monsters? Why do we do it?
Well, I think it's two different, that there's the thrill seeker, and then there's the people that are, skeptical, so they want to try to get, figure it out. And then there are people like, they believe in it. I don't know why I believe in it, but, maybe it's some of the evidence, like when you see the Patterson film and footage, you're like, that's weird. I want to see one of those, and you go looking for it. Again, I always thought stuff was on the Pacific Northwest. It's really a lot more on the East Coast and down, it's not just the Pacific Northwest. And when you have an encounter with it, you want another one. You want to have answers. You want, some people are doing it to get famous, right? They want to be the one that unalives a Bigfoot, or whatever it is. I don't want to do that. I want to know, who are you? Why are you here? How did you come here? What is your history? Like, you're the media guy, Dave. You're the broadcaster. You're the professional. You literally, I would love to do a real interview with a Bigfoot. Like, where do you come from? Like, explain it to me, because you shouldn't be. And just hear what they have to say about it. Because I haven't had the telepathic communication. What is that? Mind speak? And I'm waiting for that moment. But I don't know if they will, because I think they know that my frequency, vibration, and resonance is higher than others. I'm not somebody they have to constantly, I'm doing what we're supposed to do. Speaking of that, Catfoot, that's there, with filth. But, when your friend had that experience with the UFOs, just like when people had my buddy had the Dogman experience, and it would have been better if it was Bigfoot, because that's a little bit more palatable than what looks like a werewolf from a horror film. A lot of times people that are experiencers, be it extraterrestrial, they're chosen for a reason. It's usually your blood type and the lineage. And because we have as DNA the perfect basis for rebuilding life, no matter what it is, from this planet, interdimensionally, whatever. So we have this junk DNA. We have so much potential because we're supposed to be better, but we're too stupid and arrogant. We only use a certain percentage. Over time, the people that can handle it are able to have more memories of the experience purposely because they want people to go back and say, I had this encounter with what looked like an alien, and they showed me these images, or they showed me these weird children, possibly their own. And they give them information and they utilize them to kind of be ambassadors that in between that ether of, oh my God, what the heck is that? To people like, take this, like beam me up. Some people they don't have the constitution to handle it. So they don't, if things get blocked out, people just freeze up. But other people are just junkies. They want the fame. They want to, they think they're going to marry Bigfoot or have babies with Bigfoot or the dog man. Like, and then you get the good old hunters and they're like, well, I got a 308 and like, you have no idea what you're talking about. I don't hunt. It's not that I don't want to. I don't need to hunt, but I'd like to go on a hunt. But I've talked to people that have hunted moose, for example. And when you hunt a moose, you don't shoot it center mass in the chest. You can't. You've got to get it in through the side because the chest on that thing, there's so much skin, and layers, it becomes like a bulletproof vest. So
same as with a bear with their head.
100%.
I mean, you almost need, you need the most high-powered bullets in order to get through a bear and its head, especially a grizzly bear.
Yeah. So this is the same case. Remember, I was talking to Butch at one point, and I don't know if people remember Butch Witowski because I do. I know Dave does. But Butch had a case, and there was a native influence to it. So he went to, I forgot where it was. I'm paraphrasing this whole thing. He gets this case. It may have some native influence to it, and he asked this young kid about, do you know any elders? Because Butch wanted to talk to the elders. What do I do in this situation? So the kid went back to the elders, and the elders told the child, they said, go tell him the following. When you go, don't go with a rifle. Do not go with any type of firearm. You take a long sword, which means a machete, because they know that bullet is just going to piss it off, but the machete will slice it in half. Again, if I went up to a moose with a 308, boom, 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 it's still going to be there. It's going to be pissed, and he's going to go after you. But if you take a machete or a long sword and you slice it, it'll slice right in half. I've noticed this with dogmen. When I had the encounter, both encounters, I always have a machete in the front, the rear, and on the side. I have 3 of them because most of the states, I don't have the permit to carry what I want to carry. Not that it's going to stop anything. They fear that more than they fear the pew-pews. They know that if they get sliced more than an inch, they're not recovering from it. And so there's a lot of history to that. This is why when I hear these stories, these people going in the woods and they shoot at them, or they even hear the dogman say, don't do it, and they still shoot at them. What's wrong with you? What that's not going to be the answer. Your best answer is to back away. If if they tell you don't do it and you back out, you're going to get away. If you do it, you're going to be in trouble.
What is with people who feel that we need to chase these down. You know, I mean, the whole Todd Standing type approach, where you got to wear ghillie suits, you got to sneak up on them, you have to cover your scent, you got to chase them on down. I've never done that. I sit and wait for them to come on out to us.
Yeah,
It's safer. There's more control of the situation. But why do you think people think that they got to play hero and chase these things down?
No disrespect to Todd, but if you think you're fooling someone, one of these creatures with a ghillie suit, no. What people don't understand, okay, have you ever noticed that 99.998% none of these things are really caught on game cameras? Because they're nocturnal. They see the UV light from the camera. They see his beam, and they know what it is, and then they're like, don't go near that. Okay? They have abilities. They have sense of smell they can take in. They know you're coming from the parking lot. You could have not showered for 10 months. They know you're coming. On top of that, you have an electronic signature. Everybody has it. It is your aura. And they see it. They feel it. Why people have to go in there and think it's like, Rambo, I don't know. I mean, that could be a machismo thing. Everybody's chasing some illusion of change, money. You asked me a question at one point, like, if you have definitive proof, what would you do with it? I could make a lot of money. I mean, I really could. I could put out a movie, sell it, have people come in and pay big bucks to see probably a 5-second piece of film, and where you like, that's a Bigfoot. But that's what I think some of these people are doing. Other people like yourself, myself, there are other researchers. They want the interaction. That's what life's about. It's about interaction, right? When you meet, every best friend was once a perfect stranger. And it started by, hey, I'm Brian. Oh, hey, Dave. Pleasure to meet you. Or something like that. Hi, Phil. Thanks for shaking. That's how it starts. And that builds relationships. Todd Standing going out in a ghillie suit, crawling on the ground or whatever. What is that doing? Other than maybe these creatures going, that one's crazy. Stay away from that one. Does he have any other interactions? I mean, I've heard some of the stuff that he's, where he's veered off paths and stuff. But what's the benefit to that? For him, I don't know. But I know that if I was sitting in the woods with you and your buddies and one came out, I know all of us are going to try to talk to it. Hey, what's your name? Who are you? It's going to be like the scene in Planet of the Apes. Taylor. Like someone's going to I would throw the Nova line in Nova. And that's what I'm going to do. I want to communicate with this. I want to build a relationship with it where I get to come back more and like, oh, hi. Oh, here, show me your kids or show a picture of your young to let it see it. And maybe they show you their young. That's more of what I'm looking for. I think you're looking for that too. It's also proof. And then you get, that's the public side of it. The private side is what's going on. And I will wager everything I have, every government, I'm going to use U.S. because I'm in it, all these black budgets, they have them. They've been testing them. They've been replicating something to it or their abilities to do things. There's a lot of talk about super soldiers, especially with the Dogman. I do not have a doubt that these programs don't exist. I know they exist because anything out there, these are insanely like killing machines, and that's what you want in the military. You want to be able to send something out and have it decimate something. So they're
Are
going to
the,
the control it.
I agree with you that they could be killing machines, but I also look at it that they are, really creatures wanting to mind their own business. And we're the nosy types. And when we're in their area, they get curious to try and see what we're up to.
Yeah, I mean, when that my first ever Bigfoot encounter in northwestern Connecticut, 3 in the morning. That Bigfoot was looking in the window, looking around like, okay, what do they got there? What kind of food? What's he could probably smell all the kids that were in the bunk and the counselors. They're curious. There are a ton of great stories of even a lot of them young girls and going on camping trips with their parents and talking about the hairy kid they used to play with every summer and knew that they were there. And when they got back to it the next year, there they were, and they kind of give each other hugs and they're playing with dolls or they're doing the teacup stuff. It's not a joke. It's not made up. They're actually doing this. So they're building relationships with it. And how many stories have you heard? You've been doing this for a long, long time. They're always curious. They're always checking people out. They're always looking at, especially women. They love the smells that come from our females because women smell great. And then if they cycle, it's that's part of it's the hormones, and so that's where they're at, and it's just curiosity. We all have it. And then you get the ones that are just having bad days and they don't want to be played around with. Like, don't play with me. Get out of this area right now. You know.
For people who want to start looking for monsters, Bigfoot, Dogman, gnomes, little people, whatever it may be, do you recommend it?
I do recommend it, but don't do what some of these would be nice people on TV and movies do. Do not challenge them. Do not provoke them. Um, Treat them with the utmost respect. You're walking into their home and their property, and um, first look with your eyes, observe, then slowly build up to maybe, you know, doing more handwork. Don't just run in, I heard there was a ghost in here. I don't believe in you. Don't do that. You know, um, even the smallest one of these creatures, whether it's a dogman or a Bigfoot, even like the young, like the small, like a nine, if you had a size 9 foot or low, they can just obliterate you. And it doesn't bode well for humanity if you go in there looking guns blazing. Have the interaction, write some notes down, become a researcher. You're not a scientist. Unless you're trained, you are not a scientist. Take notes. Went to the lake. It was there. Describe it. Draw it. I'm going to come back again and try to have some kind of communication. Most likely you can use hand gestures. Hi, and some of them will respond to you. Responded to a hello, you know, and just build up from there. I would do it. I recommend it. But it's not for the faint of heart. You know that. There's a difference between sitting in the woods with your buddies and having a Bigfoot walk through camp, which is pretty impressive, versus something that looks like a werewolf. Big difference. Like, is that a coyote? Is that a wolf? No, that's like a Bigfoot on crack. You know, I mean, it's not a pretty sight. And what's really crazy is dogmen, super intelligent, super intelligent. They know that they scare the hell out of us, and they love it. They get off on it. They love it. I don't know why, but they do. They like playing games. They're like the punky kids in high school that were smoking cigarettes outside. Don't hang out with them, seriously. And then you were like, I want to kind of hang out with those kids, but that's what they purposely do it. They're the I'm going to say this, the cool kids, the obnoxious cool kids. So I would do it. Go for it. Protect yourself, but go for it. Don't do it alone though, as well.
No, never do it alone. Why should you never look for cryptids alone?
There's a lot of things in the woods in this world that are worse than the cryptids, and you always should have somebody there for a protection factor and a safety factor. You go into some of these woods and you twist your ankle. A lot of times the phones don't work. You can't, you're going to carry yourself out. If you have a compound fracture in your leg, what are you going to do? You're not going to make it. So you need somebody else there to help you. You also need someone to have your back, as they say, your six, whatever. With dogmen, if you see one straight ahead, what's going to happen is, I guarantee you're going to hear and see one either coming up on this side or this side of you. They don't work one to one. They're always in pairs. Always. Whether you see them or not, they're there in pairs.
I never knew that. Explain that.
It's a pack mentality. It's just every time I've had my encounter and I've heard from other people, and I ask certain questions not to influence the answer, and I'll be focused this way, distracted, because I'll see the eyes and I'll hear the movement coming, and then the next thing you know, I get something coming on my side, my 3 o'clock or my 9 o'clock, because that's the way you would. Bigfoot do it too, but they do it in a different. They kind of steer the game to a certain spot, the choke point, and then they'll get them. These two are just like a pack mentality of coyotes or wolves. One will come at you, and they start closing you off, so you get surrounded, and then after that you're done. But
so you think the dogmen are hunting people?
I think I can tell you right now that dogmen, as well as Bigfoot, have a nice enjoyment for human flesh. They will eat you. It's a fact. I also believe, through my research, and I'm close to it, I'm going to get in trouble for it, but I don't care. I believe that Bigfoot and dogmen, they're more related than you would believe. I believe there are deformities in the Bigfoot. So the dogman is a deformity of a Bigfoot.
I've never heard that one before. How'd you come up with that theory?
There's too many similarities. There's like these baboon-looking ones and like kind of canine mixtures. I've seen in one of our spots, we have what is clearly something that looks like a canid, and then hanging out with something that looks like a Bigfoot, the conical head, and they're working together. And the reason I kind of lean that way is, in society, when you have a child or someone who is deformed or not like the pack, the weaker link, they ostracize them. And I've seen this. I've just seen it happen. They will ostracize them. And then over time, there's a lot of inbredness to it, and they'll start breeding. And then you start getting another species out of it, because the defects become now dominant. It's not a defect, it's a dominance. There's certain characteristics of human beings. My doctor had a certain flat nose and a cleft chin, lip. And I went to camp with someone who had that same look. So these disfigurements do take place throughout history in humankind. Why not between somebody that looks like a giant ape versus a giant, canine or a dog. These could be, I believe, they're deformities, and they're connected.
Well, we'll get into the different species, deformities,
Sure.
Bigfoot, Dogman, Gugway, boogers, anything that comes up, we will get into it. Bryan Bowden is our guest tonight on Our Cryptid World. We're having a great time with him talking monsters on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be right back.
This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
All right, Bryan, we're going to turn everything over to Dirty Filth here for a little bit. Stephen Finnegan, good to have you back. Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, look, Dave, I drew a playoff alien.
Nice. Looks like an Oiler.
Bryan, I think you're muted.
Yeah, that's great.
Look at him. He's unsure what he's not sure that he's like, I'm going back to the finals.
Yeah, it's like, are we abducting people tonight, or are we scoring goals? What's going on?
What's the deal? Hey, do you want to see a Bigfoot eating a Saskatoon berry pie?
Yeah, why not? That's cool. That's cool. I love these things. It's the style. It's everything. It's really, really cool.
It's a lot of old cartoons and junk that I've thrown together, like just stuff I've watched. It's always kind of influenced me. So
yeah, it's growing up, one of my friends is David Ricard. I met him at summer camp. His dad was Jack Ricard from Mad Magazine.
oh man, I read so much Mad Magazine as a kid.
Well,
Same with Trapped.
let me tell you something. It's when Mad was like the cool magazine to have. And he used to get letters from home from his dad on something called onion paper. So it's paper that watermarked. If you're old enough, you'll understand. And his dad would draw everything. Mom's doing the dishes, and you'd see bubbles, and then the dog's there. And yeah, I mean, that was just dad to him. But that artwork is just incredible on its own, and how personal it is blows my mind. You do great work. I just love your work. I love what you do.
I appreciate that. As long as I can get someone to have a chuckle or something out of my drawings, that's what I.
Oh, I think they're
I like.
great. Some of them was like some I think are there. It seems to me, and I don't know all the insides and stuff, but there's some things that I know that are a little bit more inside, but it's still funny.
Oh yeah, there's some stuff that I draw cartoons and I'll go show it like my friends or Mrs. Filth or whatever, and everyone's like, what's the joke here? And I explain it to them, and everyone's like, okay there, Filthy, like don't hurt yourself. And it's like, yeah.
You know what? But here's the thing, as artists, right? This is what we do. Like, there's some people just don't get the humor, but it's really funny. If you get it and you're like, that's great,
I also read a lot of like Far Side and the Duplex, and
you got very much Far Side-esque to it. I mean, one of my favorites is on the far side, the deer behind the tree, like with the hunter in the background goes, do I know this guy? Do I owe him money? Yeah. It's just hysterical. Or the polar bears eating the human. Wait till you get to the crunchy stuff,
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's a little morbid too.
It is, but you have to have this type of sense of humor to enjoy it, and people take things way too seriously now.
That's kind of what I try to do with all my drawings about aliens and everything. I mean, I drew you ever heard of the Jonathan Reed case?
I know. Yeah, I interviewed John Reed. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I drew a cartoon about it, and he was bashing the alien over the head with a stick, and there's like a pile of disintegrated dog there. And some guy, I don't know if it was the actual guy, but he's like, I take offense to this. I'm like, dude, it's just just trying to like make light of. Sometimes the subject thinks it takes itself way too seriously.
He
So-
loved his dog Susie. I'll tell you that. Yeah, but I would think that was funny. I would do the same thing. Yeah, I have cartoons that I cannot show publicly to anybody.
Were they from Club Magazine?
No, it's some cartoons I used to do. I'm an artist as well, and they don't call us starving artists for nothing.
I'm always starving.
Yeah, well, that's, but it's just they're great. Like it would be kind of cool to take your cartoons and the various characters, even the Dave Scott stuff, the old Butch Witowski and whatever. It'd be great to kind of animate it and put together a cartoon, like somehow.
I agree. If some animators or big companies are listening, get a hold of me.
Yeah, because I think it would be funny. There's no difference in some of these cartoons.
I have a writer now too.
You have a writer now. That's good. Hope it's not
Okay,
Dave.
gentlemen. Oh no. Okay, gentlemen, you have a wonderful evening. Thanks everybody for
Dirty
watching me
Phil.
draw cartoons.
Thanks, Phil.
See you Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
See you Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
All right, Bryan Bowden. How you doing, buddy?
Yes, sir. I'm good. I'm tired, but good. It's a long, long day.
Right on. All right. Let's say thank you to Area 53, T-Bone times 2, Zen 2, and Necessary Dialogue for the great super chats. We really appreciate your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Reminder to all of you that you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so let's check it on out and see where it goes for you, because you'll look good in it. CJ Barry, how you doing? Melissa, nice to have you back. And who else is joining us here late? I don't know. Here comes hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, we want to remind you that, well, let's first say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Welkin. Welkin is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. We go to our cryptid world. Filling in for Varla Ventura is Bryan Bowden, hanging on out with us. He is a researcher, author, podcaster, experiencer of the unknown. There's a lot of different species of these monsters that are out there. We know Bigfoot, we know Dogman. What's hiding out there that we may not be familiar with, Bryan?
Well, you have the Ram Man. So I'm just gonna let it out. Goat Man, Lizard Man, Owl Man. You have Mothman, which is, they're all very similar in their design. It's usually, with the exception of the Lizard Man, which is more scaly to it. But the rest of them are like a Ram Man, it looks like, or a goat has, horns and rams, like ram horns on it. The Mothman has talons on it. There's a variety of different things. These are things that have been reported by multiple people, not just in North America. You get reports of these things in South America. Every country has its form of Bigfoot, the bigger foot, like 8, 9, 10, 12 plus. And then you have the Gegway and the Albawitch and Gugway, Gegway. potato. And I mean, look at the Philippines. There are these like really small. They look like Bigfoot, look like Oompa Loompa Bigfoot running around doing their thing, and they're part of the culture. So this is not something like someone's making homemade moonshine and they're seeing these things. These are beings that have been reported mouth to ear. That is the old way of getting it around, circumventing. Then the I don't want to say the smarter ones, but the ones that have created a language and a writing system would write it down. How many times have you seen old sailor maps? And there are unicorns on it, and Pegasus, and dragons, and I mean, there's everything you can think of. I thoroughly believe all these creatures have existed over time. And why they're not here anymore, that's the question we need to ask. Did we split a timeline? Did we close a timeline? Did we open a portal? What's going on there? That's, anything you can think of in the fairyland, you're going to encounter. A lot of times these encounters also take place like you're not expecting. You're walking your dog like on the phone. And another thing is like, oh my God, what is that? And you're just as shocked as they are. They're shocked to see you like, I've seen that. I literally was walking my bull terrier, Blue, if you're from Canada. And it was after one of the hurricanes. And I'm walking in the park and his nose is down and he's walking and I'm walking. And at one point we kind of bumped into one of these really big green parrots. They're worth like 15 grand. Who was just walking the park by itself. They kind of turned and faced each other and they're looking and like they both backed away from each other. It was just unexpected. A lot of these things are unexpected. So, I mean,
How
Monkman.
come we don't get reports of these different creatures as much as we do Bigfoot or Dogman?
I don't think people go out as much like they used to. People growing up, like when you were younger, you wanted to go out. You wanted to go for a drive. You want to hang out with your buddies in the woods. I mean, I have buddies, in more rural areas. Their idea of a good time is take their truck, go up a mud mountain with a couple of kegs, hang out, have a bonfire, whatever. They're going to see stuff there that you would not normally see at the shopping mall. That's what they used to do. People don't go out anymore. And people don't lift their heads up from this position. Right? This is what they're looking.
True.
So I used to get crammed in the back of the car with my brothers when we were driving with my mother and father. And everybody goes, how do you know how to get all these places? I said it was pretty damn boring being in the back of a car, crunched in with two other people, with the windows mostly closed, mom smoking Benson and Hedges king size deluxe, dad smoking a tree trunk cigar while listening to jazz. Well, you better find out, like, what road is that? Where does this go? Oh, we make a right turn here. No one's observant anymore. Everybody thinks they're smarter than everybody else because they got it off of YouTube for 30 seconds or TikTok or whatever, but no one's doing the work. Someone actually in there, Bob Berkins, mentioned something very important. I actually had this conversation driving up with a brother of mine who's also a paranormal investigator about Aleister Crowley and Manly P. Hall. Manly P. Hall wrote the Secrets of the Universe. You can get it on Amazon. It's the greatest book around. It's blow your mind. He wrote all his stuff, the majority of his stuff, before he eventually went into Freemasonry. Okay? And all people know about Freemasonry is they're the Illuminati and they're evil. And like, no, stop this. Stop, watch Spaced Out Radio. But other than that, read books. Go meet people, have conversations, be open to other people's opinion and views. You're not the only one out there, and start thinking. We don't do that anymore. So it's not like, like there's a monster union and like, Fred, what happened? What happened? I took the goat man out and no one came out. No one saw us. It's not like that. They're there, but people aren't doing hikes anymore. They're not going to the woods anymore. They're not going to a lake anymore. People want Vegas or a resort, and you're not going to see it. Every once in a while, you'll get something that crawls through some town in South America. You have to get James Fox back on. It's like, James, what happened? Like, this creature came down out of a craft and it was crawling through a shopping center. But in general, no one goes out. So how are we supposed to see these things or discover them if you're not looking for them? You don't go out of your house, or you don't. There's a ton of friends that do podcasts. I do one, just so you know. but according to Dave, I do a lot more. But the whole thing is, I'd love to sit there and listen to everybody's show and get, I want to. I give them support, a thumbs up, I subscribe, I'll do some comments. I can't watch everything. Okay? I just can't. There's not enough time in the day to watch everything. And there are certain people, you got me, you had me at go. This is one of the shows. It's like, Dave is my brother. I know we're like brothers from different mothers, and there's a connection there. It's deeper than just the show. And I appreciate all he has done. And frankly, you're better than Midnight in the Desert. I'm going to say it. You put on, this should be the premier broadcast program, everything for all these subjects, without a doubt. There's some people that are really great and they have some nice podcasts. You are a professional. You're a broadcaster. Just like we both have the same thing. I studied science. I was studying physics and astronomy. I studied scientific method. Am I a scientist? No, I'm not. But I will try to employ what I studied at university. I don't have a doctorate in it. I'm not a scientist, and I'll do what I have to do. You are a broadcaster. You put on you give everybody in chat a voice. You get people. You're at the forefront of a lot of stuff, and you don't get enough credit for it. And besides Space Out Radio, when you're not watching it at night, go out during the day. Go take a hike. Go take your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever it is out. If you want, use electric bikes, because I think it's the greatest thing, because then you can sneak up on these things. They don't even hear you coming at that point. That is the best tool so far coming out, as far as if you're looking for them. Use these electronic bikes where you can go further distance and with speed and not be heard crunching on everything. And you'll see things more than ever before. That's why that's why no one's seeing anything. No one's doing anything. Everybody's stuck in the house watching South Park.
Well, at least it's South Park. That's a good show.
Yeah.
All right. The monsters that people are encountering, with Bigfoot and Dogman being the relatively more popular and most seen ones, is it because you think they have different personalities where maybe their curiosity gets them into areas that are a little bit more subject to human contact?
Yeah, there's a lot of these images of the Dogman being seen south of the border, more so than like freely walking south of the border. The Bigfoots are seen. Actually, you have a better shot of seeing a Bigfoot by driving down a road than actually hanging out in the woods in a lot of states now. And please have a dash camera on it. I just think it's just the opportunity. Um, you know, if you used to know when parents go to sleep and when you can sneak out of the house and when you can do X, Y, and Z. And um, I think part of them dogmen being seen is when people play that stupid game. I dare you to go up to the old Widowmaker cemetery and go put this on one of the stones. You know that game of chicken, and then you see dogmen up there. I think they're up there not because they're Anubis, but I think because this is going to be bad. But I think they may feed on what's been put in the ground, and it's easy prey. It's like I don't have to go too far. So when someone passes away, you may have a dogman experience, and someone brought up the subject that the reason why dogs lick you so much, like if you're a dog person, is because they know there's a bone inside. Think about that. It's a really weird concept, but these animals know what's internally inside you. So if someone passed away and you lower them in a grave, and they have an ability to maneuver within certain spaces or atomic areas, I still believe they go interdimensional. Their flesh and blood interdimensional. That's a free meal. I can go right into the crate, the casket, chomp away, and then appear. It's the weirder stories. Like I heard a story out of the UK from a couple of investigators out there that two guards were watching a cemetery, and they literally saw a dog man. They said it was an upright canid, which was wearing high heels and pants, and they both saw it. They couldn't believe it. Now, I personally don't believe that.
No,
I, 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 I don't know what they were smoking on duty, but um, I've asked several people. Paul Sinclair is one of them. I think you may have had him on the show, and he investigates a lot of that stuff. And he's called me up, and we've confirmed, with each other. And I'm like, you had a dogman wearing like boots? He's like, yeah, there was a report of a dogman wearing boots. And is it possible? I don't know. I've never seen a dogman wearing boots. That would kind of remember when you said in the beginning, like why would people bug out? That would freak me out. That would really okay, what's going on? What's going on with it? This thing's wearing boots. What that suggests more humanistic type of logic for whatever reason. That would throw me. If I saw a Bigfoot or a dogman coming out of a UFO, I wouldn't think it was their pet. I would just think that the UFOs said, we're going to abduct them because somehow they do what we do. And I want to know it, and I think they do get abducted from the extraterrestrial crafts. They do they're experimented on just as much as humans because they travel the same space, but I don't know why people aren't, maybe people just don't care. It's not big enough for them, right now they distract you with different things. Oh, there's a generator underneath the pyramids. Yeah, no, Sherlock. A lot of people have known about that for a while. We were supposed to have under the Sphinx, remember,
yes.
There's a Hall of Records that's supposed to be there. That's supposed to explain everything. But Mr. Zakawi, or what, I forgot his name, the minister of antiquities in Egypt, he's not letting that out. And because that would totally destroy the Egyptian narrative. So then again, would the truth ever come out anymore? Because that would destroy the narrative control, the remaining control selected individuals have over people. You know, I mean, how would you like to know that maybe there were Atlanteans involved in the creation of the pyramids tens of, not hundreds or millions of years prior, and they taught the Egyptian priests, but they only taught them so much before they were able to, they left or they died or they were killed. And the Egyptians only can get so far because they don't have the full breadth of knowledge that was used by the ancients. These are the stupid things that this is what we talk about. This is, we talk about this. Here's a better one for you. People have a hard time believing in these cryptids, and yet if we look at St. Christopher, there is legitimate writings that St. Christopher had a dog head. Are you getting that? The patron
Sounds a little
saint,
tough to take.
the patron saint. Oh, look it up. It's a fact. It's a fact. There's been descriptions of St. Christopher passed down for a long, long time, and some of them describe him as a dog-headed human. There you go. Dog-headed human, patron saint of hopeless causes. It's insane. It's crazy what's going on.
How come we don't hear of more casualties from these creatures?
You do hear about them, but they're reported as bear attacks. We actually just had one in Florida. We had one, they're reported as bear attacks or animal attacks. And then the police go out, unbeknownst to them, they go out, they take out a couple of bears, and yep, we got them. And they'll say, oh, we'll go check their stomach lining. Yeah, they found human remains. That stuff's easy to manipulate. Okay? A couple of years ago, up in Colorado, there was a national forest that was shut down, 15-mile perimeter. The military came in, multiple branches. People reported seeing something, helicopter, carrying something massive, almost human-like, like the shape of a human being, eventually out of the area before people were allowed in. What do you think did it? Well, they said it was a bear. It wasn't a bear. It was a dogman or a Bigfoot or something else. And if people are afraid to go to the national forest, you know how many billions of dollars that is lost? Right? So you hear about these stories. You heard about the woman who was in Kentucky. She was attacked by her dogs. Oh, there's dog marks on her. And people saw a dog on her. There's a lot of dogman stories where people are driving up and they see what looks like a coyote or a wolf or a dog eating roadkill until it stands up and its bright yellow eyes is staring at them with a grin and scare the hell out of them. They drive home and then they have nightmares for the rest of the night. It doesn't bode well to go, I saw a werewolf last night. Oh, you did? What were you drinking, Bob? Were you drinking again or were you smoking again? No one wants to report that stuff. But another way to cover it up is you use it as a bear attack. And I talked to natives in the state of Florida, and they said, we don't get these. These don't happen here. And two of my buddies that are investigators, one who works forensic, I became part of their team, their Bigfoot team. He goes, that wasn't a bear attack. That was no bear attack. That was something else. That was cryptid base. He goes, they killed two bears for no reason. Something attacked them. And in Florida, we have a lot of loss of water, so the vegetation's drier, so there's not enough animals out. What happens? animals go hungry. And look at the caloric requirements of Bigfoot. 9 foot tall, 1,000 pound being. How much do you think they need to eat?
Bryan Bowden, we have him for another half an hour on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Okie dokie. T-Bone, the answer to your question is yes. It's one of the first ones. There's been reports throughout Greek and Roman history about, or Mediterranean history about other, I want to say, werewolf or man-dog, man-canine type of creatures. It's just, it gets hidden. Like all that stuff gets hidden. I was talking about, I don't know who I was talking to the other day, like, do we really have DNA for Bigfoot? People think they do. They have, hairs with no medulla in it. Well, it's not in any of the records. Okay. So because it's not in the records, you're going to just assume that it's a Dogman or a Bigfoot or whatever you want to call it. Now, it probably is in the records. And the fact that you have it and it's not going to register back to you that it is what it is. But the powers that be know it. The minute you submit a DNA sample into any system, no matter if it's on a high school level, a university level, or whatever, and you literally have you have a Bigfoot dead in front of you, you have a vial of blood, and you're like, I got the Holy Grail, and you put that blood drop down and you send it to a buddy, you will have visitors at your house probably within a half an hour. And you'll be brought in for questioning, and they will tell you, shut your mouth. And then they'll take everything you have. They're not going to let that happen. I'm going to say the black budget people that already probably have Bigfoot and have a Dogman, like I said before, and they don't want this out.
Right.
If I had definitive proof, you're one of, and it's less than one hand worth of people that would be seeing it. I'd be like, Dave, no, come down now. Come down. And you'd be like, no effing way. It would be tough. The only way you can really, if you want to keep it, you have to get, and I don't even trust the media anymore after what's been going on fiasco-wise, but in the old days, you would get the news media, O'Keefe media may work, but he kind of went on a different tangent too. But if you had O'Keefe media reporting on it and had cameras there and that did then you may get a little more traction, and it may make it difficult for them to take it from you. But the other media groups, they'll just cover it up because they don't care. Because guess who got married yesterday? Brad Pitt. Or whoever. Who gives a crap? Like, I have a Bigfoot. Oprah's going to buy 6 more pounds of bread.
Here's the problem, Brian, because I was at the beginning. I was in the mainstream media at the beginning of that crap. That was when Britney Spears was going nut bar with Kevin Federline and everybody. And we were skipping real news stories for this infotainment stuff.
Yep.
And the problem was when they went to infotainment, the unfortunate problem was the ratings went up.
Yeah,
and
because
every radio station is ratings driven. And then over time, you've developed yellow belly journalists out there who want to make themselves part of the story. You know, you never used to hear a reporter say, I interviewed or I asked the question, because the minute you use the word I, you put yourself in the story.
Right. You can't do that.
It,
Yeah.
and you never heard that.
Nope.
And then the problem was the ratings kept going up, and advertising dollars became more expensive, which you saw more commercial breaks.
Right. It's. I mean, my dad was the paparazzi. He sold the photos, the Jennifer Flower photos. Like, oh, Dad, you broke out the president. Good job. You know, I mean, that's what he did. You know, that was his client. The stuff I knew before it happened, like, you know.
Yeah.
And the problem is, this is why, and I'm not just saying it because
we only got like 5 seconds, dude.
Yeah, that's why they call it fake news now.
Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you tonight to Deborah Rooney, Flat 6, Necessary Dialogue, T-Bone times 2, Zen 2, and Area 53 for the great super chats. We really do appreciate this. And we'll be coming back to you right after this. Here we go, the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in. We greatly appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, we want to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go, Bryan Bowden. We have until the top of the hour. We're talking monsters on point. What the hell are these creatures doing? Where are they from? How did they get here? Everything in between, Bryan. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being on. I'm just laughing at something that Paramarv wrote in the back about Annabelle. So it's just an interesting thing. I read about the Annabelle going missing. I don't even know if they found it or not. That's just a bad idea, stealing that doll, taking it home or whatever it is. There's certain things in this world. I've met a couple of people that we've taken out on investigations, and they like to take souvenirs. No, don't take a souvenir. Have you, don't take a souvenir. And then they want to know why their life goes, bat crazy, or their wife tries to take them out.
I can say this. There's one area where I grabbed 2 pop cans.
Okay.
We were using a ghost box, and I asked permission if I could take these cans.
Okay.
And the ghost box actually came out with an answer of yes.
That's great. Okay, well, you got permission, so everything's been fine since then. No problems.
No. But here's the thing, though. Let's add to that, though. You take Tim and I were up at Flight 21, which has crash debris there. And we went up there the other day, and there was a log there that had somebody had placed a bunch of the items along that log.
Yeah.
Some of the debris along that rod. And I just thought, how do you desecrate a place like that?
People, this is the problem with our world today. I'm not higher than or mightier than anybody, but there is no respect for the dead. There are no respect for sacred sites. People don't believe. If more people are not believing there's a higher power and there are consequences for your actions, what do you expect from them? I'll take whatever I want. There is no God. I believe there's a God. I know there are consequences for your actions. I mean, that's every Stephen King movie. Pet Cemetery, like, whatever it is. It's all the horror films. You know, boy goes to lake, finds something reported, an accident, takes it home. The next thing you know, his car is possessed and he's killing people. It's just disgusting. Then again, you have people that have taken that debris and they've gone home and had bad luck or bad mojo, and they come back and they drop it off. When you go to Hawaii, you're not supposed to take anything with you. And I went to Hawaii and I'm like, but what happens if the sand comes back on my foot? It's not something like that. It's physically taking a rock and taking X, Y, and Z. I know people that have gone to Hawaii, they thought it was all, yeah, whatever. And ever since getting home with a rock from a certain place or some sand that they, I forgot what it is, things started happening. I mean, things got bad. And then they said, well, I'm sorry for taking it. They sent it back. They sent Pele a gift along with it. And then he said everything started doing better.
Well, you even see that with Robert the Doll. People who take pictures of Robert the Doll without his permission.
Well, here's an even better one. So, and I'm not doing it to pat myself on the back. I did Into the Unknown with Cliff Simon, who played Ball on Stargate, the series. Wonderful human being, man. Bull Terrier guy, rescued bull terriers. He went to Hawaii and challenged the Hawaiian, the Fire Kings, or I forgot the name of the actual warriors, fire warriors or night walkers.
Nightwalk.
And there's video of it, like, we hear the drums, and if you don't bow your head, they will kill you. And not long after that show went live, by the time the season, I think that was a later season, but a couple of months after it went live, unfortunately, Cliff lost his life to a freak kite surfing accident.
I did
And
not know that.
yeah, and some people were like, they got him. And Cliff was great, he's the actor, whatever, but a lot of times these people don't realize it's real. It's not a joke. And there's other ways of seeing the night watchers or the night walkers or whatever without you challenging it. And makes a great story, but I also think, it's real. There's superstition.
But Brian, when you see the television shows where they're challenging Bigfoot, where they're challenging ghosts, they're challenging entities, demons, whatever it may be, all for in the name of ratings, I mean, that's where you see trouble being made. And people, and not trouble on the show, but people playing a copycat game of that, where they are saying, well, if hypothetically, if Zach Bagans is doing it, it obviously works, so I need to do it that way as well.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. Zach is not somebody you should be listening to. He got lucky with what he did. Actually, it was one of the first shows that I watched that you could see a brick flying. I mean, they had initially, it took a while, but they got some evidence. But he got very cocky and very Vegas and pompous, and he challenged. And between him, Nick, and Aaron right now, I mean, if you haven't woken up to the fact that what you're doing is, you're being told you guys are idiots, don't do that. I see people challenge them, and I've stopped people. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, we want them to make, like, no, you don't do that. How about if I came into your house and said, Dave, If you're here, Dave, you know, and I bothered you while you were sleeping, and you have a hangover or a headache, a migraine, and I come into your room and say, Dave, if you're here, turn on this flashlight. What are you going to do? You're going to take the flashlight and throw it at my head, tell me to get the out of the room. And that's what happens to people. They think it's a joke until they get scratched. They think it's a joke until they go home and there's a shadow person hovering over their bed, or they're fighting with their spouse, or there's arguments or problems with their kids, or stuff goes crazy in the home. It's a lesson you don't want to learn. The price is way too big. You can.
But
This
hey,
is
they
why
have
I
the
don't.
experience.
I will wager that most people that had the experience would say, I was stupid. I wish I never did that. And I've seen a couple people that said it, and like, I will never do that again. There's a lot of people that don't believe in God, so they have no protection. I'm not talking about organized religion, folks. I'm just talking about a higher being, and asking for their help and protection. And you just leave yourself wide open. I don't play with Ouija boards. You don't know who you're talking to. It's kind of like getting catfished, but like, wow, look, look at this chick I saw. She met me online. She's great, and then you go back, and if you can actually look really what was going on in there, it's not this beautiful, gorgeous woman that's hitting on you. It's some overweight guy in the middle of, some third world nation trying to steal your wallet. And that's what goes on. Yeah. I don't think there is a Bigfoot. I just noticed the Bigfoot hunting show. I know they wanted to do a hunt for Bigfoot, but I don't think there was ever a Bigfoot hunting show. No one really challenged.
There was a few years ago where they actually had like trained military snipers and trained outdoorsmen looking for me. I think there was like $1 million challenge or $100,000 challenge or something along those lines.
He's still the king. He's still the king. You're not getting away from that guy. I would never. You just don't challenge it. I don't do as much ghost hunting because I don't care if the flashlight turns on or the ghost box. It's unless that ghost box says, "Do you feel like I do?" Like Frampton comes alive. Like I don't care. Because I have my own experiences with the departed, which blow my mind that I can do what I do. It still blows my mind, and I don't need the ghost box. It's fun. There's some really good people doing that type of work, STS and ITC, and it's very interesting. But I don't need that. I don't need to go into the house and I'm scared. I jump up. I don't care. I'd rather just spend the same amount of time in the woods, sitting in really wet, disgusting, smelly leaves, waiting for that Bigfoot to come through and just say, in your case, it'd be like, "Hi, I'm Dave." Like 2-second time, like, "Hi, I'm Dave." I would do that all night long. I love that stuff. UFOs too, but I don't need the ghost hunting stuff.
The idea that people will chase these down and try to hunt them down.
Right.
There's a lot of very talented people who have outdoors experience. Why do you think we don't have a body?
I think they dissipate and I think they dematerialize or they bury them. And they're very protective about being buried. They're very protective about it. They protect any type of any type of access to their burial sites. We have a site we think is a semi burial site. You'll see those long rocks. It looks like a tomb, and I think they purposely will protect it, and you're not going to get to it. There's no way you're going to get to it.
Do you think they bury their dead, or do you think they take their dead into a different zone, time, dimension?
I think, for the most part, they have an inkling of when they're going to pass away, and they will do that back interdimensionally versus an event that was unplanned, like someone shooting at it or whatever. It gets hit by something. And then at that point, they have to bury it. But I do believe the same family or clan or group hangs out in the same area. You know, like it's their stomping ground. Wolves use 150-mile radius to hunt. I think Bigfoots use thousands of miles, you know, maybe 1,500-mile radius, and they know that that's their area, and they know the ins and out of it. And they keep, you know, it's like a clock. We're going to go here this month, and then we're going to go here, and we're going to go here. Grandpa passed away, put him here. We know he's there. They'll mark it. Boom, 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 boom. And they hide that stuff. Yeah.
Where do you think the fairies come into play? Because Ronald Murphy, the crypto guru, believes Bigfoot are part of the Fae family.
Yeah, he does believe that. I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't believe Bigfoot are part of the Fae family. I think Bigfoot are interdimensional beings that are their own whatever. The Fae are very interesting because prior to, you know, Let There Be Light and humans coming and being here, there are other creatures on the earth, and some were looking to ruin the soul of man. Hence the Archangel Michael prayer. And I think they've been here since the beginning of time, and they serve a purpose. This is my land. I take care of this. I mine for crystals, and I do healings. And then another, you know, I take care of the trees, and this one takes care of the water. It's task-oriented entities. They have a job to do, and they're doing it. It's just what they've done, and they keep doing it over and over and over again. Kind of like bees pollinate, same thing. I don't think Bigfoot is part of any of that other stuff.
Okay, well, what about the idea that the fairies have this control of dimensions or the world underground?
Well, I think that if you can change your physical structure and you can do things molecularly, you can go anywhere. The underground, I really do believe that there are different layers to the inner earth, and there are different beings that live there. And this has been, like, over time, one group has been pushed all the way down to one point, then another group came in and they went to another point, and it just builds and builds and builds. Bigfoots, it's a great place to hide. You have energy sources there. Same thing with the Fae. But
well,
yeah,
I know you got a little bit of a frog in your throat there.
Oh yeah, choking.
So with the fairies, I mean, people say that they are either very reckless and tricksters. Other people will say they're very peaceful, loving, and are almost like guides. I mean, there's a lot of different versions of what the fairies are, and it really depends on your own opinion. I know my daughter had fairy experiences. Your daughter has had fairy experiences. And with that, how do you know that these fairies that are, say, around your daughter or my daughter back in the day are actually good, that they're not trying to take them into that inner earth take them in and we'll never see them again, or that they are there because they are, the child is meditating or very peaceful or has a loving heart.
I think I just want to make sure I'm not muted. I think some of these fairies, I think their attractiveness to individuals on this planet, especially children, is based on the energy that they're giving off, be it a positive or negative energy, plus or minus, and that's why they just know. You ever meet somebody and you just connect and you're like, I don't know what it was, but we just hooked up. It was like, it's like I've known them my entire life. There's some innate ability internally that these beings have that they know what recharges their batteries, like recharges like. But there are also other beings that are like, you know what? I want that. I need that battery. I need that source. I need that energy because I'm dying and I'm old and I need to, reclaim some of that. So it could be both. They could be trying to not kidnap your children, but maybe use them as a food source for life. It's like a Blade movie, right? In Blade, they were making these embryos and literally creating their own blood supply that they can drink from embryos or people, and they'll pull them in like, I need the O positive, you need the AB, and they'll keep. I think the Fae does that with some of these humans, be it children. I know my daughter is an Earth Angel. I know it. She saved my life. 100%. I will say it straight anywhere I am. And the stuff that comes out of her mouth, she's more than special. I think they know. They just know. And that when I saw that Fae on her finger or that light thing, I was like, yeah, that's my daughter. She's going to be the one that's like, oh crap, she's the fairy queen now. Like, hello, like fighting some other, the green fairy versus the blue fairy. I mean, Ron does a lot more research on the individual ones and their roles. I don't think that they're mean or nasty. They have a job to do, and they're not going to let anybody get involved in it. There's Lynn Monet.
Yes.
I'm friends with her. I actually helped her with. She had an elemental at her place. I remote viewed it, and she thought it was all BS. And like, how did you describe the upstairs? And I'm like, because this is what I do. And I saw the creature. He's super super old, and he was cursing her the whole time. And he sat there like a little kid. He has a purpose, and Lynn was one of the first people to actually treat him really well. So it totally changed his perspective. At one point in time throughout history, humans and the Fae used to get along really well. And then humans turned against the Fae, and they went a little bit more underground to protect themselves. And now some humans are treating the Fae very, very well. So the reputation, is going back and forth. It's from good to bad, but we're trying to work on building that back up again where it'd be kind of cool to have, Dobie the house elf, I don't want to clean up my stuff. Like, here's 6 Oreos. Go clean that room, would you?
No kidding. No kidding. Well, it is something where the Fae are around. All you have to do is take a look and see where they are, and hopefully they come around and show themselves. Never hurts to have a fairy door out by your tree in your garden or something like that, too.
No, not at all. I don't think they do any harm to people in homes. But if you treat them with the kindness and respect, I think you'll get kindness and respect, live and let live. It's so important that over in the Netherlands and Iceland and whatever, they will build a road around a fairy ring. That's how much that's speaks volumes, my opinion.
We got about 40, or not even that, maybe 30 seconds left with you, Brian, and thank you for coming in for Varla Ventura again this month
Pleasure.
for our cryptid world as she is recovering from some health issues. We really do appreciate it. Where can people find your podcast?
Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. to 10 on YouTube, Third Eye Live.
Love it. Bryan Bowden, everybody. Coming up next, Swamp Dweller, Little Timmy James, and the UFO Report. We continue from there with the Dave 101.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
I know you're going to boot me.
I'm going to boot you? For what now?
I had the Florida Panthers thing up. But
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I'll tell you what, if
You
the Florida
bastard.
Panthers win, I think your next SOR conference should be out in sunny Florida and West Palm Beach.
Maybe. We'll see. All right, brother. Got to run.
You got it. Be well. Bye.
Yep. Bye. Be right back, everybody. right. What is that? What is that? Oh, cool. All right. Oh. All right, let's bring in little Timmy James. What's happening, buddy?
Oh, not too much. What's happening with you?
Oh, not much. Just kind of hanging on out.
I'm amazed that Bryan keep going with all the podcasts he's got going on.
I know. It's amazing he finds time for us. My back is still killing me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's no
I
good,
didn't have
man.
time to just relax, and I was watching the hockey game.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, weird.
Go figure. Hey, one sec here. Big thank you tonight to Necessary Dialogue, Flat 6, Zen2, T-Bone with a hat trick tonight. Thank you very much, T-Bone. Deborah Rooney and Area 53 for the great super chats. Really love and appreciate the support that you give SOR. Also, we do not have ugly swag at our store. Go check it on out. We got some good stuff there for you. Send us the pictures when you got it, because we want to put them on our website. Here we go. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We have Swamp Dweller, as well as Little Timmy James of the UFO Report coming up here momentarily. But first, we want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Welkin. Welkin is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. This story takes place during my first year being on the force. I was 19 years old at the time, and I was stationed at another community called Waswanipi. Waswanipi is in a swampy area, and it was a summer night. We got a call from a bar roughly about 30 minutes away from us. The bar is on the side of a road in a not-so-great area of this town. To keep the lives of the people who live in this small town normal, I won't name it. So it was my partner and I who responded to the call and drove for about 15 to 20 minutes. I was the one driving the car and had headlights on, the high beams. As we were going, we spotted something lying in the middle of the road. And this thing was big. At first, I thought it was a moose. It's not uncommon for moose to lay on the road because of the heat and mosquitoes. They tend to lay on the road and try to cool off. I started braking the car so hard that the tires screeched and whatever was lying there got up quickly. This thing was towering over the car. We are usually equipped with Tahoes and Suburbans. These are big SUVs, and I'm not sure if it was because of our lights. Still, it looked like this thing had red eyes looking down at us. I've never felt so scared when I saw its eyes, but the thing roared at us and ran away, which was far too fast to be any normal creature. My partner was paralyzed with fear when I was telling him to call backup, so I had to call it in myself. And I remember trying to explain to dispatch what we encountered without sounding crazy. Still, after about 15 minutes or so, our backup finally arrived. We checked out where the thing ran to, and honestly, even with the backup, I didn't feel safe at all because this thing was huge. We had Glocks, and pistols don't do shit to these things. Now you can imagine how I felt with this gun. knowing that this guy couldn't bring down a bear on its own, and this thing was much more significant than a bear and a moose. We walked a couple of meters away to investigate what we encountered. After a few meters, we saw this thing knocking down trees. We decided to walk back to our cars. You could tell every single one of us was shaken up. I swear walking back to the cars I heard knocking on the trees. After returning to the cars, I thought to myself, if we had continued following the trail this thing was leaving behind, what would have happened to us if we re-encountered it? A few days later, people reported seeing it from Waswanipi to Senatare. In conclusion, I firmly believe I saw a Bigfoot that night. Quick side story. When I was younger, I stayed with my grandparents, and my grandfather had a friend who came over to visit us. He told me a folk tale or a myth, whatever you would like to call it. He said that Bigfoots were common before the colonial days and would attack native camps and take children. But apparently, every native tribe would come together and have war with the Bigfoots, and they kept it a secret when the colonizers came. That's why there are fewer sightings. I'm not sure if he was telling me the truth or lying to scare me, but it kind of makes sense. Well, the occasional sightings part. That's just me.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another creepy, weird story. If you want more just like that, Swamp Dweller has his own YouTube channel. Swamp Dweller, of course. And all you got to do is go to his channel, hit subscribe, ring that bell, and you got thousands of stories right there for free for you and your entertainment. Let's go to the UFO report.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer. You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
We bring in little Timmy James for the UFO report. We always appreciate you coming on in, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. And you, sir?
I am very good. Now, excellent. I don't know if you caught this one, but I caught it late today. And that is, the rumor has it, as the Anna Paulina Luna story wanting to defund Arrow, and she said she has a replacement that promises they're going to be transparent. Did you hear about this one?
All I heard about this one, I did hear a little bit of stuff. There was a lot of scuttlebutt going around, but I did hear Sean Kirkpatrick got involved.
Apparently, it might be the FBI's UFO recording center.
Yes. I did hear a little bit.
Because, Kash Patel has done such a great job in bringing out the Epstein files and other files that, the JFK files and all of that, has a lot of redactedness to it, if we could make that into a brand new word, redactedness. How is that transparent? She says they're going to be much more transparent than they were before, but we also know that they haven't been to this point.
No, exactly. And you're right. How is it transparent with a huge black Sharpie on everything? That I don't know. I'm thinking, just sounds like another kind of, I don't know, pulling in allies, I guess. I'm just confused by it. I did read a little bit on it today, and it was very kind of not surprising, but one of those, I don't get it. So
I think what bugs me about it is I do agree with Anna Paulina Luna that Arrow should be shut down. I really do. And it is because they're not playing for the role of the public. They're playing it for the role of protection, like a first-line bodyguard, like an offensive lineman protecting the quarterback.
Right.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're not there for telling us that UFOs are real. They're not there to tell us that we have alien bodies. They're not there to tell us the sky is safe because of these UAPs. And I just want to get into this for a second, and please comment. This is the exact reason why I've been so hard against the UAP stigma. Because anything can be a UAP. A Mylar balloon that you lose, your kid lets go of the string. That's a UAP.
Yes.
Birds are a UAP.
Yeah.
Drones are a UAP. Airplanes are a UAP. Satellites are a UAP.
Mm-hmm.
Chinese lanterns are a UAP.
Right.
Everything is a UAP.
Yeah, for sure.
And when you sit there and try and break it down that they are looking for UAP instead of UFOs, I think that they have, they said they're trying to get a little bit more professional with the topic. Well, in my opinion, and maybe I'm in the minority, the UAP standard is everything but UFOs.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. And you couldn't hit it harder on the head. That's bang on. The thing that, the thing that I don't like it, about this arrow thing, and I agree with arrow should be gone, is that everything, I shouldn't say everything. What I find is the people that are defending it, I don't know about you, and maybe it's just me that's hearing it, but it's always nobody sought a briefing with us. Nobody came to us and asked us to sit down and tell us what. It's like, yeah, I think they have actually, and I think that you've been caught in a few fibs, Mr. Sean Kirkpatrick, saying I wasn't there, and there's pictures with you there. So, yeah, there's no truth, I don't think, with it. And even with the new face behind it, I think all they're trying to do is, make it's all good. It's all fine. And quoting Dave Scott, nothing to see here. And that's gotten old. And I don't think it matters who you put in front of Arrow, to the face of Arrow. It's going to be the same thing all the time. And I'm thinking that, they got to do something, and Arrow's not it.
No, and I would agree with you on that one. That's why I do believe and do support what we see from Anna Paulina Luna, that Arrow should be disbanded. But I don't know if the FBI is the way to go. It's another government agency. FBI is known for covering things up, whether Luna wants to admit it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, she may be buddies with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, and they may want to be able to get a little bit more leeway with that.
Sure.
But in the end, how much are they going to put out? I mean, if you look at it, they're still talking about the Epstein files, and we don't know about Diddy, and we don't know about JFK, and we don't know about RFK or Martin Luther King, God bless him.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about that.
No. And I'm not trying to be that guy that says, hey, I told you so. But you and I discussed this many times when this all came out, when she started with all of this. I was wondering, and I don't wonder, but I was wondering how much of JFK is important. Don't get me wrong. I understand it. So is Martin Luther King. Epstein, yeah, okay. But I was wondering how much of the other stuff would they put in front of the UFO and UAP, whatever you want to, what would they put out front as the defense? You've only got a 6-month window, apparently. That's what I thought this was. This was a 6-month window to get everything out. And I knew it. I knew it in my gut that they were going to put everything out in front and pick away at that before they got to any of the UFO and the UAP stuff. And there you go. And it's happening, right?
What else you got for us, Chief?
Well, you and I have been talking about this quite a bit, and it's been a topic, with us. So time for new voices in the UAP disclosure movement. Okay. So the UAP UFO disclosure movement has been stuck in a loop for too long, leaning on a handful of familiar voices who've become almost synonymous with the topic. These retired military and intelligence insiders with their tales of secret programs and unexplained sightings have kept the public hooked, but they haven't delivered the breakthrough that we need. Their stories, while compelling, often stop short of hard evidence, leaving us in a fog of intrigue and skepticism. If we're serious about getting the truth about UFOs, it's time to shake things up. We need new faces in the conversation and a tougher approach to getting the answers. starting with congressional subpoenas to bring witnesses under oath. The problem with relying on the same old whistleblowers is that their narratives, however dramatic they could be, have become predictable. They're often bound by security clearances, offering vague hints about classified programs or non-human technology without concrete proof that could force a real reckoning. This creates a cycle where bold claims spark headlines. Skeptics roll their eyes, and the public is left no closer to clarity. These voices have played a vital role in raising awareness, but their prominence has also made the UFO debate feel like a closed club. To move forward, we need to hear from a wider range of people: scientists, engineers, commercial pilots, and even the most important, civilians, with credible, documented encounters. These perspectives could ground the conversation in data and experiences that don't fit the usual military intelligence mold, making it hard for the establishment to dismiss the issues as a fringe thing. Right now, the system for UFO testimony is far too voluntary and too selective. Whistleblowers who come forward do so at great personal risk, facing stigma or career damage, which discourages others from speaking out. And when they do testify, like in the 2023 House Oversight Committee hearings, they often can't share the juicy details in public due to classification rules. This leaves us with tantalizing fragments, claims of crash retrievals or biologics that can't be substantiated in open forums. So subpoenas would change that. By compelling testimony under oath, Congress could demand clarity from witnesses who might otherwise stay silent or hedge their statements. Perjury carries real consequences. So witnesses who have to back up their claims or admit that they don't know, cutting through the haze of speculation. So subpoenas aren't just about pressuring the unusual or the usual suspects. They're about casting a wider net. Why haven't we heard from aerospace contractors who might have worked on alleged UFO-related projects? If private companies like Lockheed Martin or Boeing have been involved in studying exotic materials, as some whisper, their engineers or executives should be called to testify. Same goes for NASA, Dave's favorite group, which has access to vast troves of sensor data, but has remained cagey beyond the limit of UFO study. Subpoenaing these players could force the release of unclassified records, or at least make them explain why they can't share more. Even if their testimony reveals nothing earth-shattering, it would expose the scope of the secrecy and force public reckoning. The old guard of whistleblowers has also made it too easy for critics to paint the UFO movement as a sideshow. Military background, sensational claims, while credible to many, feed into stereotypes of conspiracy and conspiracy culture. New voices like commercial pilots who logged an object moving at impossible speeds on radar, or physicists who studied unexplained electromagnetic readings could shift the narrative. These aren't people chasing fame or selling books. They're professionals with data to share. Their testimony would carry a different weight, forcing skeptics to engage with the issue on scientific or operational terms rather than dismissing it as sci-fi fantasy. So the public deserves more than recycled stories from the same faces. We need a disclosure process that's aggressive, inclusive, and unafraid to challenge the establishment. Subpoenas would signal to Congress that Congress is done with half answers and ready to treat UFOs as a matter of national urgency. Only they can move past the same old, and towards the truth that's been hidden for far too long.
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Thanks.
I really do think you hit the nail on the head there. And with that, I would say we do need new whistleblowers, but we need real whistleblowers.
Absolutely.
Not experiencers.
Right.
We don't, I'll add a caveat to that.
Okay.
We don't need groups like Skywatcher changing the names of UFOs.
Right.
To suit their political and public face.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of a sudden becoming authoritarian on that.
Yeah.
what we need, and we already have it, is a bunch of experiencers that have already been able to take this subject and move it very forward into the scientific community.
Sure.
Look at the studies at Rice University. Look at the studies at Harvard, at Stanford University with Gary Nolan on this subject. This goes beyond the government side of everything. We already have that.
Yeah.
The problem that we don't have is the credibility that comes with a military title, that comes with an agency title, an intelligence title, or a commercial airline title.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tim, you are an eyewitness of high strangeness. Why is your opinion not as good as, say, a military member who saw a Bigfoot on a training ground somewhere on Vancouver Island or in Washington State?
Well, I think an easy answer to that is I'm not employed by the government, so they can't control my narrative. I'm not an employee, right? I don't have an NDA. I haven't signed anything to say that, I'm a yes or no, sir. So I think that when they direct the military, and by no means am I fudging on that word, because that's what they're doing. They're directing the narrative, in my opinion. And I don't care if it's Lou Elizondo or whoever it is, that it's all being funneled down the same pipe, and it's being controlled by other people. So I think that works. But if I pop up and I'm not subpoenaed, I'm not under oath, and I go, holy cow, this is what happened, and here are the best pictures that the world's ever seen, that won't get out. They're not going to put that out. That's when you're going to get that knock at the door, and they're going to tell you to stop talking, I'm sure, right? But yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's just that it's easier for them to control their people. You can only tell them this, and you can only say this, and you can only go so far. They can't tell that to me, right? Or they can't tell that to you, or they can't tell that to, your average Joe. They can definitely put the pressure on, but they don't have, saying it loosely, they don't have that control over us as they do their minions.
And I think that's a logical argument to that. Mm-hmm. It very much is. And what you want to do, though, is you want to be able to have some sort of continuity between what the public is experiencing and what the narrative is of what you're trying to control. Mm-hmm. And right now there is such a divide behind that it's hard to even think that we have any sort of semblance of what truly is going on. And I think this is why, more people are demanding proof, which I will get into in the Dave 101 on a personal spaced out radio level.
Yeah.
And that's coming up next. But I think we also have people who are just tired of being told that this is happening, this is not happening, this is UAP, not UFOs, this is psionics, not summoning. And I know there are people out there, Tim, who don't agree. What's the big deal about an acronym? When you change the medium, you change the narrative.
That's right. Absolutely. And I really would love to see somebody from Lockheed Martin or Boeing be subpoenaed and have to testify under oath. I really would. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, a good one for that would be Steve Justice.
Right? Yeah, there you go.
He left Lockheed Skunk Works as their number 2 guy to join the Stars Academy, only to step away 3 years later with Elizondo and Mellon. Why has he never been called to testify? Why have they never asked him? Maybe they have and he's declined, but put him under oath.
Yeah, absolutely.
Subpoena them.
Absolutely. Maybe he doesn't have a book to sell.
Buy my book.
I'm not sure.
Buy my book and give us money for NASA.
That's right.
That's it.
Have you seen this picture?
Exactly. Tim James, thank you for a great UFO rundown. Really appreciate it. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, it's the Dave 101 and the weird news of the week. We'll be right back.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, buddy, we're clear.
Excellent.
Great
All right.
job, man.
Thank you. I'm doing these little. You said you wanted them weekly, so I'm trying to.
I like them.
Good.
I
Okay.
think
Cool.
I love what you're doing.
Excellent. I just don't want to. I don't want to step on your Thursday night with Dave 101. That's
man.
Okay. Cool.
My opinion is always going to be different.
Yes. That's true.
And
Right
even
on.
if it's the same, I'll add something to it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But I thought you hit the nail on the head tonight, man. That was really good.
See, I listen to when we talk.
Can't
All
wait
right.
to see you. Can't wait to see you on Saturday, bud. We might have company, I hear.
Yes, we may. We might have to see how that goes for sure. But other than that, we'll see you tomorrow night on Element 115 and in the chat room with Dave. And I'm going to go sit back and watch the 101 with everybody else.
All right. Thank you for your dulcet tones tonight.
Not a problem, sir. Have a good
See you,
one.
buddy.
Bye.
Little Timmy James, everybody. All right. Super Ron, how you doing? I noticed Jeremy Jones hasn't been in. If you chat with Jeremy Jones, make sure you tell him, let's go Oilers. Hi, Stu Effin Gerson. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, there was just about 10 days ago, Jeremy Jones giving me a little bit of hell there regarding the Dallas Stars coming back in the third period to win Game 1. But what happened? What happened? What happened, Jeremy? 4 in a row? What happened? Been pretty quiet. All in fun. All in fun. Sweet Robbie G's all excited because he lives in Bakersfield, which is the home of the Edmonton Oilers farm team. Big hockey fan, that Sweet Robbie G. Oh, it's true. It's true. Sweet Robbie G even got himself a pair of skates. He's going to learn how to get on out on the ice and do a little dipsy doodle. PRM, how you doing? Yeah, that's true. I was quite quiet when the Yankees lost. But I took it. I took it. People like FAP were very, very cruel to me for a few days after that. Sorry for the yawn, guys. Linda, how are you? Thank you to T-Bone with a hat trick, Zen 2, Area 53 for kicking things off, Flat 6, Debaruni, and Necessary Dialogue for our super chats tonight. Remember, you can get all your swag that you need at spacedoutradio.com. Click on the store tab. We got great swag. Nothing ugly there. Not at all. And we're going to get going in 7 seconds. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio, a show that's flown on by. Hope you still got your tinfoil on. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us in for your weird and strange fix tonight. We want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. It's that time of the night, that time of the week, where I yell at each and every one of you to get off my lawn. It's the Dave 101.
Open up the door, it's Dave! Who? Dave, D-A-V-E. What is this?
Dave's not here. It's the Dave 101.
I can see you're really upset about this. I honestly think you ought to sit down calmly, take a stress pill, and think things over.
Leave the killer out! Yeah! Leave the killer!
Dave's a mess.
Good to have you with us for this Dave 101 tonight, because a lot of times what we do on the back end of things of Spaced Out Radio is we monitor comments and see what people are saying about the show. So recently we had Tim Senor on the show where he really got into a heartfelt discussion with me about his experiences with the phenomena, how it changed him, how it scared him, how it affected his daily work to the point where he could not work anymore after watching a UFO come down from the sky that was summoned by me, and then the next night having to be an eyewitness to what he claims was 6 pairs of legs walking through the trees when Samantha Mowat saw aliens in the forest at Flight 21 in 2023. This affected him so much he couldn't do his job. He really enclosed on himself, became very introverted with what was going on, couldn't concentrate to fill the tasks at hand, and a lot of people, even myself, got very upset with him. The big thing that I wanted to bring up about this is not to say Tim was in the wrong or I was in the wrong about this. No, the big thing about this was it was a true story. It was a true story about what happened. It was a true story about his feelings. And it was a true story about how friendship got affected because of the phenomena. Now, there's always that one person who likes to just say things. Okay? And I'm going to read this comment on our YouTube from that show. Spaced Out Radio always respects a great storyteller with not one shred of evidence. That's their business model. What is evidence? What is proof? There is no evidence or proof that could actually hold up to make anybody happy in this field. How do we trust videos anymore when we know AI has become so advanced that it can make even humans seem real? It can change voices. My good friend Ian from the UK, he sends me audio clips of myself talking, and I've never said those things. But he's got an AI algorithm that has literally picked up every inflection in my voice, including my Canadian accent, in order to sound exactly like me. Video cannot be trusted because we do not know who shot it. We do not know if it's been edited. We don't know if it's AI anymore. The cheap AI, yeah, that's still easy to talk about. But if you get really into the deep AI, it's very difficult. And it's going to become more and more difficult as the months and years come by. But the reason why I bring up that comment was the fact that we are a storytelling radio show. Even though we broadcast on YouTube, radio is our main broadcast. Radio, you can't show pictures. We have to describe them. Radio, we can't show video. You have to describe it. You have to use your words. And at what point have we become so fickle that it's all about the evidence and not about the people experiencing it? See, when I went to broadcasting school, we did this thing called focus, which means that everything you do in your story or your program has to have focus. The focus of this show, depending on the topic, if it's with experiencers, it's to allow them to tell their story. If it's researchers, it's about telling us about their research. If it's about government officials, well, it gets a little bit tougher. You have to be able to adapt and adjust to absolutely every topic that we talk about and with whom that topic is discussed. So, for instance, I'm not going to treat Tim Senor the same as I would Lou Elizondo or Ross Coulthard. You can't do that. It's different genres. You have to have a focus for every single show. But because many podcasters out there, unfortunately, have not gone to broadcasting school, have not learned for broadcasting professionals, or have not been in any journalism or television before, and they are learning on the fly, unfortunately, this falls by the wayside. Now, I'm not saying that we're better than anybody else because I have my diploma in broadcast journalism. Not saying that at all. There are some great broadcasters, podcasters out there who have done incredible things and ask incredible questions regarding their topics. But they also know that every topic with every guest, you have to have focus on what you're talking about. This show's focus is about the experience. And if you go back and rewind time to when most of us fell in love with these topics on radio, when Art Bell, God rest his soul, left us, one of the things that Art Bell was great for was allowing people to tell their stories, tell about their encounters, tell about their alien abductions, their shadow being encounters with Bigfoot or Dogman or other creatures, flying into Area 51. Sometimes it was fake and people pulled the wool over Art's eyes, but you know what? He made the night fantastic. He really did. And it was because he allowed people, whether it was live callers or whether it was people on the air that he interviewed, to tell their stories. We become a much more fickle society because even if we do provide proof or even evidence, nobody wants to believe it, because if it isn't them approving it, it is absolutely fake. We see it all the time in our world of the phenomena, the paranormal, supernatural, and at some point, we have to allow people the respect and the dignity to share how this has affected them, as we did with Tim just the other night. Now, for Tim's part, I thought he handled the questions admirably. He didn't want to admit that he had seen the alien or aliens, but he finally opened up to that for the first time. You could hear the emotion in his voice that it was extremely tough for him to talk about. He didn't want to relive that experience. And in fact, that traumatized him so much, we've actually invited him back up here to British Columbia to go into that area. He says, Dave, I'll go to your house. I'll come visit and hang out. But there is no way I'm ever going back there. I have another friend. We call him Rambo. He was there with us that same weekend where it scared him so bad he ended up going back to church. Yeah. The phenomena affects people just like you and I. It's not about whistleblowers. It's not about government agents. It's not about intelligence community. It's not about the military. It's not about Lockheed Skunk Works. In the end, this is about people who are having the most extraordinary experiences, and they just want to know what is happening to them. If we're not allowed to tell those stories because people want that proof, they want that hardcore evidence, you're not going to get it. I don't know the last time I was in the forest having a Bigfoot encounter or staring up into the sky having a UFO sighting where I said to that UFO or that Bigfoot or even a ghost in a haunted place, hey, can you just stop for a second? I just want to grab a video here because my critics don't like it. And they don't believe that the story I'm going to tell about seeing you is real. Can you just stop so I can snap a quick photo? Maybe we could give the horns up or give a point or a thumbs up or whatever you want. We could sit there and we could, if you could just stay right there, I'm just going to grab a picture, and that's for my skeptics and critics who don't like the stories. No. For me, I get more out of the stories of people than I do government officials or intelligence agents muddying the waters. Look, yes, there is people out there who will exaggerate their encounters. I've caught them on this show. It's a chance you have to take. But if you know the person and you know them well and you have a great aura about them and a great feeling about them, you know when you're being BS to and you know when you're not. You're not going to catch it 100% of the time, but your spidey senses that each and every one of us has will be able to tell you that. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't go out there and try and film Bigfoot or a UFO, try and get that evidence. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, even if you had the next Patterson-Gimlin film to prove Bigfoot's existence, how many people are going to tear you apart? That's the issue we have. That's the issue we have. I mean, you look at Bob Gimlin. He's 96 years old now. He still gets threats on his life because he put out a Bigfoot video back in 1967. I understand we're a more scientific community. I understand people want results. They want data. They want numbers. They want testing. That's what UAP brought out when the TTSA really got into the whole UAP thing rather than UFOs. I understand people want that collected. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing either. But I am very pro personal encounter. I am very pro hearing people's stories when they come up to me at a conference and say, Dave, can I tell you about my ghostly encounter? Can I tell you about the Sasquatch I saw? Can I tell you about the UFOs? I want to hear those stories. I do. And look, we're not all going to agree. That's just my process on things. It's the way that I believe. I want to believe people. I want people to come on here, be genuine with their stories, just like Tim did. The vulnerability that Tim Senor showed last night on the air was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. You could literally feel the fear coming off of his voice. You could feel him shaking when he had to talk about his feelings about the UFO. And to be honest with you, I think Tim is still in denial. I still think Tim is in denial about what happened because he was so pro-UAP nuts and bolts that he didn't believe that the experience could happen. And when it happened to him, he doesn't know how to process it in his brain, albeit 2 years later. And I felt for him. I really did. Analyze what is proof and what is evidence, because they are two different things. We do have evidence. We do not have proof. We think that the government is going to give us proof, but if you look at it right now, that whole massive area is in shambles as well. We have people with the skiff flu because they don't want to talk about the secrets they know. We have people who are trying to change names of everything in order to make themselves more credible. We have people who are trying to get rid of Arrow because Arrow won't tell the truth of what's going on. It is an ugly sort right now with this UFO topic / UAP in Washington, D.C. And that's why behind the scenes, if you're talking to people, you know that they are all claiming disclosure is dead. The last time we had Science Bob on, he claimed he believed disclosure is dead. He said that publicly. So before you go spite someone for talking about what they are, or spite a show because you don't understand what focus is, everybody has their niche. Our job is to tell stories. We're going to continue that. Our ratings show very successfully on terrestrial radio that people want to hear the stories, and that's what we're going to continue. And that is your Dave 101. Let's get to the news.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the latest bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News.
Loud noises! I am good at things. Fighting and reading the news.
It's time once again for Spaced Out Radio's Weird News of the Week.
All right, this is a problem that doctors are talking about, and it's going to affect every single human being here. Doctors warn that sitting on the toilet for over 10 minutes increases your chances of intimate medical problems. The timing of your toilet trips probably varies day to day. Sometimes you're in and out. Other times you're welded to the seat. But many doctors now are urging people to not linger longer than they need to, as you're running the risk of encountering what they call intimate medical problems. If you're going over 10 minutes on the mark on a regular basis, there's a big chance that your bottom might end up paying the price for your lengthy jaunts to the bathroom. Loads of people overstay their welcome when using the lavatory, especially if they are having a good scroll while relieving themselves. But prolonged sitting on the toilet has been known to weaken your pelvic and anal muscles, as well as drastically increasing your risk of developing hemorrhoids. These are the lumps which appear inside and around your anus, which are also often referred to as piles. According to the NHS, symptoms include an itchy bottom, bright red blood appearing after you drop a deuce, and perhaps feeling like you still need to go even if you've just been. Those with piles might also get spot mucus in their underwear, ew, or on the toilet paper, or experience pain around there. I was trying to think of another adjective, but it just wouldn't have been appropriate for radio. We told you it was an intimate problem. Yes, thankfully, there are a number of methods you could use to treat your hemorrhoids, but try your best to swerve them altogether would be a much better idea. And in this day and age, the prevention tactic we all need to be reminded of it is avoiding more than 10 minutes of toilet time while browsing on social media. They say don't crap or get off the pot for nothing, you know. Yeah. Here's my thing about this. I'm going to get personal about this story here. For us men, I don't know how it is for women. I can only talk about men here because I am a man. But for us men, it's the only privacy we get. It's the only level of sanity at home or at work that we get, where we feel that we are 100% in control. So does this mean, like, if I'm on there, like, 10 minutes and 7 seconds, that those 7 seconds are going to make sure that I get a bunch of Gomer piles around my butt? I don't know. But I'm telling you, I ain't changing my ways. I need that time. I need to relax. And that's sometimes the only place you actually get the opportunity to do so. Let's move on from that crappy story, pun intended. I don't like this guy either. Wouldn't do what he did. An endurance swimmer spent 12 days swimming 59 miles around Martha's Vineyard, the filming location of the classic movie Jaws, to raise awareness for shark conservation. British South African swimmer Lewis Pugh became the first swimmer to circumnavigate the Massachusetts island when he completed his swim on Monday. It's been one of the toughest swims of my life. Cold water, relentless wind, big waves, and the constant thought of what might be underneath, Pugh wrote on his social media. The swimmer chose Martha's Vineyard for his swim on the 50th anniversary of Jaws to push back against the common perception of sharks as undersea monsters. It's exactly what they are. For the past 50 years, it's been about fear and about the danger of sharks. What I want to do is I want to try and change the narrative for a new generation and say sharks actually bring life. They sustain life. They make oceans healthy. I agree with that too, though. Pugh said Jaws and the films that followed in the wake of it contributed to negative perceptions of the animals. They portrayed sharks in a way that they are villains. They're out to get humans, and we all know that they are nothing of the sort. That's because you're thin. You're not a meal like I am, and I'm not taking the chance. He goes on to say this is an opportunity to try and tell a new narrative for a new generation. Oh, there's the new generation drop right there. Yeah, you don't swim in Great White Area. You just don't. This guy has cojones of steel. I admire him for it, but there is no way in God's green water that I am going swimming with great white sharks. Not a hope. As we say goodnight to the news, and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in, at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAT, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. sec, guys. There we be. There we be. Yeah, I saw that, T-Bone. I was shocked by that. Paul Demon, Oilers in 6 or 7. Nothing stopping us. Nothing. All right. See if that's loaded up. We're going out on Saturday, Joe, and we should have a part 2 very shortly after that. Philip Blair, how you doing this morning? Matthew Anderson, don't be gross in our chat room like that. We don't talk about anything to do with kids. Where are we going here? Oob to Joe's mom. Her son's got aliens. Jay Bachochin is on our show tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about Wisconsin cryptids. Maybe a little Dogman, a little Bigfooty. Be fun tomorrow night. I cut it off, didn't I? Yeah, I totally did. Totally did. What a jerk. What a jerk. Matthew Anderson, are you here just to be a shit disturber, or are you here to have some fun? Just asking. It's a simple question. Because one will get you uninvited, and one will allow you to hang out here and have some fun. Zero mood, and as my listeners know, zero F's to give. Yeah, let's put you in timeout until you want to be a little bit smarter. Zero time for idiot comments. Sorry, guys. Beth Noyes, how are you? No, he didn't qualify for a participation trophy. Like, come in all you want. You're allowed to agree. You're allowed to disagree. But don't talk racial crap or sexist crap against children or anything like that. Or violence against kids or whatever. It's real simple. I don't know how hard that is. Apparently for some it is. Gerence, the man. You could tell the minute we started calling you Gerence, you invested in an ascot and a pipe. Guaranteed. Marie K., how are you? PRM. I have never played fantasy sports. I did once. I was in an online simulated hockey league. A lot different than fantasy, but it was pretty cool. 6, 2, 4, 10, so that'd be 16, 9, 6, 8. It should be around here. Yeah, that whole how can I put it without getting too personal? It's only been the last 2 years where I've started to get back into sports. I went through a traumatic time in my life where I gave up on all sports, like just dropped them cold turkey. I mean, I was always a fan. I don't think you can ever take the fan out. But I went through a real traumatic time where I didn't watch any games. I didn't do anything. So it's only been probably the last 2.5, 3 years as my son has got older and fell in love with hockey and other sports that I have started falling in love with it. And it has nothing to do with the sport. It was It was just a personal thing that I was going through at that time. I'm doing great, man. I am doing great, and I'm having more fun than I've ever had in my life right now. I really am. All right, a big thank you to T-Bone ×3, Zen 2, Flat 6, Debaruni, Area 53, and Necessary Dialogue for the great super chats tonight. Debs, thank you again. And for your love. Tomorrow night on the show, Jay Pajochin again, Wisconsin cryptids. That's what we will get into. If you're new here or listening for the first time, do us a favor, hit subscribe, ring that bell. We are here 7 days a week. Love y'all. We will talk to you tomorrow night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.